All right. I wasn't gonna record this because I don't have any space in my SD cards left because that's just how I operate. But I apparently at some point ordered a 64 gig SD card. I don't remember doing that, but I did, and it came in today. So this video can exist. This is the AE-1 that I got yesterday, but I don't know when this is going to come out in relation to the unboxing video. So let's just say I've had this for a day. I'm going to do a quick inspection of it. I've not looked at this. I've looked at it as much as I did in the unboxing video in anticipation of doing this one. I just didn't expect to be doing this so soon. So I'm just gonna start off, and take the bottom off. That's just the best way to start doing one of these. Now what's interesting is with these black AE-1s, you're thinking, wow, that looks awfully similar to an A1 bottom. And you'd be correct, it is very similar. Oh God, I don't know if you caught that. I need a moment. The only difference is, well, one, it's a metal bottom, like an A1, and this one is black, like an A1. But right there, we only have 2 contacts for the power winder, whereas the A1 has 4. So this is like a little bit of a bigger hole in an A1 bottom. And then also, typically, they don't have this much corrosion in an A1. This is an AE-1 special. You can see that is just gunk right there. So that's good. Which means that, yep, look at that. Look at that. That's good. That's tasty. Okay. I'm gonna put these screws right there. And because I've not done much in the last, it's been less than 24 hours, my desk is still a little bit of a mess, just a little bit, so I am, dear God, I'm working through some other projects over there, which is why I'm using this, oh man, area, and it's unideal because the camera angle's a little different. It's not my absolute favorite. I just feel like you see so much more details in my hands than I'd want you to. But doing the best with what we got. Oh yeah, that's crusty. Look it in there. That's nice. Okay. So just need to take a moment here. Yeah. I didn't have any issues with this. You can tell the advance is a little bit rough, but right there, you can see that, well, let me just break this down, because I don't know if I've discussed this at great length. AE-1s, A1s, and AE-1 programs are all essentially the same base mechanisms. There's, differences in their metering system, there's differences in the electronics. But for the most part, like the very base level, it's a 3-magnet system. The advanced system is basically the same. The shutter is the same because it fires at the same shutter speeds roughly. The A1 has more, but I don't need to worry about that. And yeah, that's it. It runs off the same 6-volt system. So there are 3 magnets. There's one like under here, under the mirror box, that you can't really get to unless you yank the whole thing out. And there's this one and this one. So this here is not great. It's still working somehow. That genuinely surprised me. Usually if you see something that looks that corroded, there's a short and it will stop working. And then also over here you can just see how corroded and disgusting that all is. So I'm very, very surprised that this is working, and based off of the unveiling of this and just the amount of gras doux that came out when I took the bottom off, I don't think anyone's actually been in this camera before. So that's always kind of fun, you know, the first. And just for reference, here's the bottom with the 4 contacts. Here's this bottom. It only has 2 contacts. There's a flex circuit that sits right over top of the door, so if you are changing out the door, it is likely, because I've done it before and I know a lot of other people have, that you could rip the flex circuit with the rod that holds the door in place. There's a little metal rod here, and the idea is you push it up and then pull it out, and then you can change the door, and you could actually end up snapping the flex circuit and breaking the camera. And that's what happened with one of my AE-1s. Somebody switched the door out and yoinked it. Yeah, then there's a tungsten wire that sits, basically runs along the top here, and I will be needing to take the top off of this most likely. And let's see how this works actually. Oh, it doesn't. That cleans up quite nicely. So that wire is basically what controls the inputs for the light meter, because it runs underneath the shutter speed selector and the ASA dial. So if there's any sort of slack or tear in that, it could also potentially brick the camera. So that's another element. And overall, it's just, there's a lot of things in this that I just don't really like to do, that are very common issues with them. So I just never really picked them up too much, because I figured I'd much rather work on, like, you know, more fun things, I guess. And I've also never shot with an AE-1, believe it or not. I've, you know, advanced them and fired them thousands and thousands and thousands of times, but I've never actually used one in the field. But I think this is one that I'm gonna try to use, because it is kind of a good looking camera. Right now I'm just doing like really small maintenance work. This is just stuff that'll make me feel a little bit better, and dropping things into the camera, which is good. This isn't something that, you know, I necessarily recommend that you do when you get a camera, but this is just something that I like to do just to make sure I can get a good idea of, oh, this smells horrible. This camera smells so bad. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. This camera smells awful. I'm just catching whiffs of it. Anyway, this is something that I do when I get stuff, just to make sure that I've got some of the bases covered. Oh, the other thing about these battery doors, there's a screw in them, because you can get replacement doors for like $10. It's not that bad. But there's a very specific screw that holds the hinge in place. And it's a screw head. I'll probably actually just show you. So it's a flathead screw. It sits right here. So it's a screw and then a little space and then a little like washer that's built into the screw, and it's to hold this in place. So that way there's enough tension to close it and lock it into place. Those screws, I don't know if they don't make them anymore or what, but just have not been able to find one. So using a like replacement door on this doesn't work, because they don't come with the screws. So you can like get it to latch closed and all that, and it's great, but it's not really the same, if that makes sense. And that's just me being like very pedantic. I'm just talking. Mint repairs of these tend to be a little bit more difficult. So what'll likely happen, you can see back underneath there, is if the board gets kind of disgusting, all of those electronics back there, it's really hard to show you because my camera wants to focus like right here. But I mean, you can see right there on the bottom, just that is not a good color. You don't want that color. It's like a greenish white. It's like mold with mold on it. And it just means that all these electronics back here may or may not be moderately compromised. Now, as I said previously, I am quite amazed that this has held up as long as it has, because it's not in bad shape by any stretch of the imagination. It just looks like it's old, and with no maintenance work being done on it, I'm just surprised that it is in the state that it's in, and that all I needed to do was just put a battery in it. So you can hear the difference here. I'm gonna put this back on before I forget, because what will happen too is I'll fix that, and then I'll forget to screw the magnet back in place, and I'll try and advance it. I'll get this little thing stuck somewhere, and it won't fire. I'll be like, oh, I killed the camera. And it's just me being a moron. So don't be like me. Okay. We still have that issue, but we're gonna fix that next. I'm just gonna pause. So there are 2 screws in the front here. I have to get that out. And I always like, the thing I like about the AE-1 that nobody else cares about, but it has this little dish here where the Canon logo is. And I always like to put the screws for the top in there because it makes sense. And now that I'm saying that out loud, it makes me sound like a psychopath. But that's just a fun little management. There's cord management. Is there screw management? My cat is literally right off camera here, standing on top of my typewriter case, wanting me to pet her. But I will persevere for the sake of this video. So I'm gonna take this off. Just getting the back off of the camera so that way I don't worry about either closing it and then dropping the pin in, or dealing with it flapping around too much. That's very much a personal preference. That's the part I hate. Yeah, this thing is gross. Willow really wants to get on my lap. Okay, so that comes off there, and then there's 2 washers, and then there's a bunch of corrosion and mold buildup, it looks like, as per usual. Alright, get on my lap, woman. Either do it or don't. Okay. Now she doesn't want to be on there anymore. I think she just wants to be pet. Then there's that thing. I got this set of like 15 different tweezers, and for the most part they were pretty much all of this like straight variety, which is fine, but I got one with that right angle that I was just using, and those are by far the most useful. Like I kind of wish I just got a set of 15 of those. Oh no. Alright, so that just happened. Basically, what just happened and why I'm now quite frustrated is that shit got broken. Barocketed. The tungsten wire, the one that I was mentioning just a little bit ago, did the thing that I hate, which is break. Basically, it snapped somewhere, and now there's obviously no tension, but we will continue on. Here's the wire, and there's where it snapped off. You can see maybe how frayed it is. It knew I was coming, that's why I just broke in half. The good news is I have another AE-1. That would be the one with the snapped flex circuit. And basically what I can use is that part on here, and that should hopefully work. But we will see how fixable this may or may not be. And just like that, the top will come off for better or worse. And put that right there. The top's actually in pretty decent shape. I did not bother to look in there. Yeah, there's some kind of the usual green going on. That's not too bad though. Let's take a look at the rest of the camera. So really quickly, this is supposed to ride under here, up over here, across, down, around here, and then wrap around here. And then from there, you know, this is your shutter speed control there, and then depending on your ASA, that will be this. So, but if it's broken, it doesn't really matter too much. And then obviously you have your viewfinder here, which this one, as I discussed previously, is broken. The glass is at least. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop this out. And this is just the 2 screws on the side. And I figure while we have the wire broken off, might as well get to this. Easy enough to do. Bada bing, bada boom. And you can see there's a little bit of buildup in there. I don't know if you can see the mold that's kind of growing, but it is definitely there. And then you can see the prism right there. There's a good deal of dust. Just gonna go ahead and I don't really want to take out the tungsten wire of another one at the moment. So this is my stalling tactic, and then I'm going to actually do what's on my desk. Come on. Son of a biscuit. So let's go ahead and talk. There we go. Let's talk about this. So I don't know if you can see it because it's very thin, But as I said, it runs underneath this, up over top of here, over here, under here, around this, and there. So there's a screw here, and what you want to do is wrap it around the screw. So you have the wire, wrap it around the screw. It goes right into this little, there's a slot right there in the dish. See if you can see that a little bit better. Goes in there, and then you wrap the wire around. There's a little catch on the inner disc, or on the inner ring of this. So you're gonna wrap this around the coil there. You're gonna wrap it around so it coils up the spring system that is right there. You can kind of see. That way there's tension acting against this, as you can see there. So that's the general idea. And point being is this needs to have a level of tension, so that way when you set it somewhere, the contacts on the bottom will set properly to where they need to be in order for the light meter to work properly. Okay. Sounds like we're good, right? While I have the top off and all the pieces out, I like to do a little bit of detail work. I like to make sure that I'm cleaning all of this gunk out of here if possible. Just making sure that things look good everywhere, because it takes very little time to do this, and it just prevents more growth. As you'll also notice, I did change out the viewfinders from the broken glass to just this one. And I only did that because of cosmetics and because that other camera is going to be pretty much sitting dormant until I get another tungsten wire put on it. So I figured I'll use the pieces on that, which are good, on this camera here, and make this as good as I can because it's ready to go now. That's basically it. I can't think of what else to say. This has been about a 20-minute video of me trying to just put this thing back together. But it has been done. We're just gonna double check that everything's working properly. So, to recap, took care of the aperture squeal. Double check that. We're gonna advance, push in the aperture preview lever. It sounds much better, it's moving more freely. We fixed the tungsten wire. That's a big issue because otherwise the camera just doesn't work. Cleaned out just about everything. This still definitely needs a lot of help. I'm gonna spend a bit more time tomorrow actually cleaning it instead of just doing a little maintenance work. I'm gonna see if I can put some more color into there so that way it pops a little bit more, because I really like this a little bit wider than this, but you know, just something that's nice and flashy. I think it adds nice contrast to this black. And yeah, that was pretty much it. It was the AE-1. And also, I just fixed this ME Super that I've had for like a year. So I'm very pleased about that. However, I didn't record anything, but it was sitting up on my shelf and I was waiting to jump into this again. And I thought I might as well just fix that. So that would be 2 black models of cameras that I fixed tonight. And I'm not gonna lie, pretty proud of myself on that front. On that note, I'm gonna call it an evening. So thank you for tuning in and watching this very lengthy video. Hope you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, make sure to comment below. Catch you on the next one.